Welcome to Common Man Cocktails. I'm Derek Schulmer. Today we're going to show you how to make the Martinez. I made this in a while, I think 2015. So I was looking for something different, new, and I haven't done it in a while. We'll be doing a live stream soon. I just got to figure out when I can get people together after the holidays. I can be busy next couple weekends, but we'll get there. We'll do a nice live stream. We'll come up with a theme. Here's a question. What should we do for the next filming? It translates to what's the next month worth of cocktails going to look like? It's a little cold. So write your comments down below what you think it should be. The Martinez is going to be 1.5 ounces of gin. It's going to be 1.5 ounces of sweet vermouth. It's going to be 2 dashes of Angostura and 1/4 of Luxardo Maraschino liqueur, which I incidentally forgot to get. So I'm just going to go grab that. Right here. I happen to know where it is because we go through a lot of this here in the show and outside of the show. Maraschino liqueur. It's sweet, but not as sweet as you think it would be. It's liqueur. It's going to be syrupy, but it doesn't taste like cherries like you would think with a Luxardo product. Stick it right here. So we're going to mix it in our mixing glass. We're going to pour it into a chilled coupe glass, or in this case, I'm going to use what I think is maybe a martini glass or something. I don't know. Martinez is really kind of like a martini. It's a Manhattan with gin. For those that are like, just break it down for me. It's a fucking Manhattan with gin. We're going to cover some history in a second. I'm going to tell you, first off, I'm going to be using some Barr Hill Reserve Old Tom gin. So this is actually just called the Tomcat gin. Old Tom gin is basically like if you think of an aged gin and an oak barrel. Now, if you consider the fact that historically, this smells great. Historically, think of a time where Manhattans, old fashions, things like that kind of ruled the day. So a Manhattan with gin, it makes sense that they'd be using an oak aged gin for multiple reasons. One being that it was something that existed at the time. Historically, from what I've done, I did some research years ago on this, and Old Tom gin, if it's accurate, who knows, back then things kind of were gray. The idea was that the gin was just stored in oak. There was it had something to do with the taxes in the UK, so they had all this gin that they weren't able to move very well because taxes on alcohol were high, so they just stored it, and then all of a sudden stored for a long period of time. It took on some of the characteristics of the oak. Somebody tasted it one day and was like, this is really good. And then you had Old Tom gin. Whether that story is true or false, I couldn't really tell you. I'm using 1.5 ounces of sweet vermouth. However, when drinking and hanging out with friends, you tell stories. That's a good one. Like trivia. I'm lazy. 1/4 ounce pour right here. Just pour it right into this little jigger here. You could probably just get away with the bar spoon if you really want to. I'm going to need to find a bar spoon anyway. A couple dashes of the Ango. And I'll explain to you why all the rest of this stuff is there in just a second. But it's a video, and it's on YouTube and other places, so I'm going to guess that you don't have the patience to stick around for the whole thing, so I know most of you are going to leave after I'm done making the build. So you might not care about history. Where's my spoon? We're going to stir this for, let's go 30 seconds. It's already kind of getting cold. You can go longer if you want, 2 minutes if you're really into it, but you could put a thermometer in there and really go for it, but I know what you want. You want to drink, you don't want to stir. Give it 30 seconds. Keep your hands off the glass where the actual glass meets the ice until you want to test it. When it feels nice, you know you're there. I'm kind of there, but I'm really enjoying the stirring aspect of this, so I'm just going to keep going for a few seconds. Relaxing. Boom. That'll work. That's a big drink right there. God. All right, this, my friends, put your ice, little water into your coupe glass. Get it up to that cold temp, down to that cold temp, then dump it. Historically accurate. Now, the one thing I'm not doing that you could do at home if you care is an orange twist. If you just have oranges lying around and you want to cut off the rind and let it get hard and go bad, you could do so. Cut the rind off, kind of get the oils out a little bit, rub it around the edges, throw it in there, you're good to go. But I'd wait until the drink's poured. Here we go. Salt made that shit right there. There we go. This, my friends, this is the Martinez. Now, you've seen it. I'm going to taste it. Then you can leave, or you can stick around for more history. Here we go. I have a hard time holding this because I've had a couple of Coke Zeros. A little caffeine thing going on. Whew. Warm, a little bit of vermouthy, a little oaky. More vermouth than oak. And this is a pretty mild vermouth, I found. Not as bold as Carpano Antica. This is Martini and Rosso. It's almost got a little honey aspect. That could be, I don't know if these guys are using honey as part of their distillate. It says just made with juniper. Oh, juniper and raw honey. So the type of Old Tom you use, Ransom, Tanqueray has one. I think I had those in the closet. They might give you a little bit more juniper forward. So just like a standard gin, the artistic nature of the distiller, the creator of the product is going to kind of come out in the drink. This does have a little note of honey. It's got the sweet vermouth kind of on the back end. They play side by side pretty well. I don't get a lot of Angostura. I don't specifically taste the Luxardo Maraschino, which tends to have like a earthy sweetness to it, more so than like a cherry sweetness. But without it, it might become a little bit stronger, a little bit more bold. I don't know if you want that or not, but the inventors didn't. So Luxardo Maraschino it is. Now, a little bit about the cocktail in general. When you look back in history, this is from the 1800s. Luxardo Maraschino in general was pretty popular as a liqueur, as an additive for a lot of cocktails. You can see it put in a bunch of drinks. So if you're looking at drinks that have Luxardo Maraschino in them, they tend to be more classic cocktails. Nowadays, you might get something more with like an elderflower or a ginger or whatever. Back then, they only had so many different modifiers, and that was one of the key ones. Also, when you put aside, obviously, Angostura is pretty popular. Old Tom Gin's been around for longer than me. Long time. The original, there's two competing stories. One is that it was invented by Jerry Thomas, who published it eventually, about 4 years after it was published in this original book. The Modern Bartender published this in 1884. That's a long time ago. And they think that the drink actually probably existed 10 plus years before that, which isn't that abnormal. A drink would have existed and then been drank and requested at many different places, probably crossing the country. But back then, crossing the country wasn't like getting on a plane and just flying around. So think about the mass popularity of something that could make it from, say, California to New York or vice versa. The popularity would have to be pretty big, especially back then. So more than likely, it became popular, then it got published, and this would have been its first time being published, not its first time being drank. Also, at that time, the popularity and the rise of popularity of a Genever would have been pretty big. So instead of just drinking a UK-based gin, which wasn't as popular back then, so if you think of like the Beefeater, that wouldn't have really been in vogue, if you will. It would have been a Dutch gin, Genever, which is actually the grandpappy of gin to begin with. So you're going to get more of a malty boldness. So imagine like that malty flavor with that Rosso vermouth taste and a little bit of bitters. It would definitely give it a different taste profile. Second to that, they probably would have then used maybe an American gin, something that was built here. Maybe it's not the best in the world. Today, you could get something like New Amsterdam gin. New Amsterdam gin would have much less bold flavor, no malty flavor. It would have a little hinted juniper flavor, probably a little bit more citrus play, so it would have paired pretty well with the fact that it had a citrus or orange garnish. However, the two different styles I've heard is it could have been a Genever or it would have been an Old Tom. Both were popular at that time. And the Old Tom definitely is more adjacent to the Manhattan when you're substituting a gin for a bourbon or a rye. However, if you're making it today, you can use yourself more of a juniper forward London dry gin. You could go back and date and use a Dutch gin, or you are in the area where that is still popular, then so be it. If you're in America, it might be a New Amsterdam gin, could be a German gin, Monkey 47, a Roku gin, also fantastic. An Irish gin would be good, gunpowder gin. You're going to get a little of that like black tea type flavor to it. So for a very basic 3-component drink, 4 if you want to count the bitters and 5 if you want to count the water/ice, you can make a lot of different variations by just changing the root spirit, the gin that you're choosing. Hendrick's, I wouldn't go with Hendrick's. The cucumber in here might be a little weird. But again, take your favorite gin, play with this. If you like Sweet Vermouth, it's going to even be better. But this, my friends, a classic drink from the 1800s, back when like railroads were still a thing. That's it. That's the Martinez. We are teaching you how to drink. And don't forget, go to awesomedrinks.com, get a bartender starter kit from me, and that would be nice.